Hey, it's Bill Gross, the LAProbate expert, with a question. What do you do when you have an appraisal problem? That's why I created this video. Appraisal problems, let's not act surprised. In this market, it's happening all the time, and we have to be prepared for it and learn how to deal with it properly. Let me show what I mean. So, appraisal. Appraisal is a bank's tool for financing to protect the bank. It's not meant to protect the customer. Though in some regards it does protect the customer a bit. It's not meant to protect the seller at all. It's meant to protect the bank. Now, time was that you could work with appraisers and talk to them, and there's more of a professional interaction in the business. But nowadays, it's much like everything else. They're pressured to keep costs down, churn out reports, move quickly, many are done desk reviews only. And so, really, what are you really getting? And I think it's important to understand that the appraisal is not an evaluation of the current market value. It's not done to tell the buyer this is what the property is worth. It's saying based on our lending rules, this is what is worth on a certain date in time. Let's get into that a little more detail. This is the standard form used by almost all appraisers, a little different for FHA and VA loans, but same basic concept. It's the Uniform Residential Appraisal Report. And on the second page, it begins with what are called comparable sales, where the appraiser will pull data and put in information of homes that closed and sold and closed escrow within the last 3 to 6 months. Now, of course, something that sold and closed 3 months ago was an escrow 4 or 5 or 6 months ago. And that's the problem. It's true that appraisers could make an adjustment for time, but they're very hard to do and very rarely used on standard residential reports. So let me show you what happens in an appraisal. Imagine that you have a property that goes into contract in June at $551,000. Now, in general, prices of property have gone up by 10% over the last year. So you can imagine if you break that into months, it's gone up about a tenth of that each or 12th of that each month. So when the appraiser calls me in July 15th and says I finished the report, he's using comparable sales within the last 3 months. Let's say March, maybe April, maybe February. But they went into escrow before that. They went into escrow in February, maybe January, December, and closed in February or March. And now it's only 3 months old. But really the price from a market point of view has been more than that. We've had an unprecedented frenzy of buyers, lines out the door when it was available, multiple offer situations like never seen before. So it stands to reason a property that went up 10% in the last year, today's some at 551, back in February or January, sold for 527 or less. So the appraiser calls me, or the buyer's agent says, hey, the appraiser came in low at 532. Will your seller lower the price to meet the appraised value? And oftentimes I'll say it with authority, like the appraiser is like Moses coming down from Mount Sinai with the tablets given to him by God himself. No, that's not what it is. The appraiser did a report based on a certain date and time using certain rules to protect the bank. It has nothing to do with what the buyer is willing to pay today for that same property. What I always tell the buyer's agent is, hey, if you think those comparable sales are comparable, go knock on the door and see if the guy who bought that house in March will sell it to your client today. My guess is he will for an extra $50,000 or $100,000. He's not going to sell it for what he paid for it. It's worth way more than that. They're happy. They think they got a deal. So what do we do? So here's some 5 solutions to help prepare yourself when you get a listing, what you need to do to be successful. This is why I'm a listing agent. I always tell people it's never a problem until there's a problem. That's why you want me to solve the problems as a listing agent to protect the estate, to protect the seller. Number 1, prepare the buyer's agent. Now, during negotiation, you need to have that discussion with the buyer. Hey, I notice your pre-approval letters for exactly what you're offering, and your buyer's bank account shows exactly enough for the down payment and closing costs. What happens if or when the appraiser comes in short 5, 10% or more? What's your plan at that time? That doesn't mean my seller's going to cancel the escrow. What's your buyer's plan going to be? You need to think about that before you get into escrow and make sure the buyer's agent understands and is on board as well. Number 2, prepare the other buyer's agents. You want them waiting around in backup position. You want them hungry like tigers in the zoo waiting for mealtime so that if the first buyer falls out, they're ready to go. Your job as a listing agent is to become their friend, to help encourage them. Hey, let's stay in touch and communicate if your buyer is still available. I've sold many properties right away to the backup buyer who is there ready to go. I don't like backup offers. I think they're overrated because the buyer can back out. I like having a relationship where there's communication, we've planned ahead. Number 3, prepare your seller, know the game plan. Is the seller going to play hard with you? Is the seller going to give in if the buyer is going to come in low with appraisal? Sometimes the sellers, they're fine with waiting and reselling the property. Many times they are, many times they're not. But you got to plan ahead. And again, it's a chess game. You want to be 3 or 4 moves ahead of the competition, not reacting to them. Number 4, prepare the appraiser. As a listing agent, if they need access to property, they call me to get in the property. They can't just go in on the super key. They need my permission. Oftentimes they need my access to get in. And so it gives me a chance to communicate with them. Say, hey, by the way, I know you're gonna have some challenges on this one. Let me give you the better comparables. Let me explain to you, we had 15 offers and we picked this one. We counted 3 or 4 of them and we picked this one. Give the appraiser the data that's gonna help you. Show him that in that market, housing prices went up 10, 15% in the last year, which means that comps he used need to be adjusted as well. Number 5, I think, is the most important. Sharpen your negotiation skills. I think there's 2 parts that come to mind here. Number 1, you should want to plan ahead so you're not surprised. You want to tell the buyer's agent ahead of time, this is the process we're going to go through. When the other part is to keep your emotions in check. Negotiations really are undermined when agents get emotional. And of course, clients get emotional, and they're allowed to. That's what they're paying me for. My job is to be the calm port in the storm and react appropriately when this becomes an issue. Another negotiation tactic I've always used is I don't want to negotiate anything until we negotiate everything. Meaning, sometimes a buyer's agent will come back with inspection and say, we want an adjustment of $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for what we found. And I'll converse with my seller. My seller may even agree to that. But I'll say to the buyer's agent, we want to waive everything at one time. Because what I don't want to do is give them something on the inspection time and then have them argue when the appraisal comes in lower, they need another adjustment. I want it all at one time when they're ready to close. And when they're ready to waive contingencies in exchange for that concession, that's the only time we want to make a concession is when they're ready to close. So those are the 5 solutions. Prepare the buyer's agent, prepare the other buyer's agents, prepare your seller, prepare the appraiser, and sharpen your negotiation skills and have a plan of action. So this is a common discussion we have. If you're interested in this kind of topics, if you're an attorney or in a probate estate, seller, real estate agent, investor, wholesaler, come to probateweekly.com. It's every Thursday at 4 p.m. We podcast it as well, Probate Weekly Podcast. We have past episodes, Probate Weekly episodes. If you get in contact with me, I'm Bill Gross at the LAProbateexpert.com. Love to help you get the best possible outcome for your sale, whether you're an estate or whether you're an individual or a professional business. I'm here to help you.